What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan Nicole, and if you're new here today, thanks so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different from what we have talked to before on my channel, and that is how to make and stick to a budget. So let's go ahead and get into it. So it's important to note before we get started that I am by no means a financial advisor or expert by any means, but if you've been following along with my channel for a while now, you'll know that I have recently started to live on my own. Back in September, I moved to Florida and I started to live on my own. So as a result, I gained a ton of new responsibilities, which included managing my finances. And I found that the easiest way to keep track of everything was just by having a budget. So I really just wanted to make this video today to share with you what has helped me and what has worked for me when it comes to making a budget and setting financial goals. Ultimately, the main reason why you should have a budget is because it acts as a guide rail for you. Whenever you create a budget, you create how much money you want to spend in a particular area of your life. And if you decide that you're going to spend a certain amount of money, that is all that you can really spend if that's what you're deciding. So it really allows you to stay on track if you have a financial goal or if you are trying to get out of debt. It's a great way to learn how to manage your finances and stay on track for where you're wanting to go. The first thing you should do when deciding to create a budget is to know your income. Figure out how much money you are actually generating and bringing into your income stream. Knowing how much income you bring in and generate will allow you to know how much you're able to spend, so that way you don't go into debt. The second thing you want to figure out when creating a budget is, what are your fixed expenses? Do you have rent? Is there insurance that you are paying? Do you have some credit card debt or some debt of some type that you are trying to pay off or have to pay each month? Figure out what your fixed expenses are and make a list of those so you know how much you have to spend each month. The third thing you'll want to consider are, what are your variable expenses? What are some flexible expenses that you have within your month that you don't necessarily always have or that might change? These flexible expenses can be anything from entertainment or groceries or clothing, things that you don't always need each month, but the amount of money that you spend on them each month might change. So for me personally, these variable or flexible expenses typically are essential purchases that I have to make when it's like gas or groceries or something like that. But if it's something like an item or something that you're saving up for, like a new phone or something like that, that can go in these flexible expenses because it might be something that you don't have every month. The last thing you're going to want to do is to definitely review your budget monthly. So you not only want to keep your budget and create a new budget going into a month, because that will help you to continue this practice of having a budget and just sticking to your financial goals and keeping you on a right financial path. But you also want to review your budget because it's important if your expenses might change during the month. So I know for me personally, like I had created my budget at first, and it was when I was first starting to live on my own and I didn't necessarily know how much I was going to spend in each area that I was going to have to spend for the month. So when it came to gas, I maybe didn't put or allot enough money for gas for a month, where I got pretty close to the amount that or the limit that I was allowed to spend. But when it came to groceries, I might have had a lot of extra money or extra space within that budget that I can now move or know that I need to move into my gas fund for the next month. So by reviewing your budget and reviewing my budget, I'm able to know how much I will need instead for that upcoming month. And that can help you a lot too, because it can help you to continue this practice of having a budget and allow you to not get discouraged if it seems like one month it didn't go as well as you were hoping or planning. So that was just a quick overview of what I like to look for and think about whenever I am creating a budget. But now what I actually want to do is I want to show you what app I use in order to keep track of my budget. I was thinking at first that I'd like to do it by paper, but that is just, it can be kind of hard and tricky sometimes to remember to write things down and to remember how to keep track of your expenses. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the app that I decided to use, and that is called the Everydollar app. Alright guys, and here we are with the web version of the Everydollar app. So I have it pulled up online here just so I can share my screen with you guys. So here we are for the month of May, since May is the next month that we are entering into, and I was already thinking about creating a budget for this month as well. So I just wanted to show you guys the outline for the actual app. But first things first, like we talked about, we have the income section. So you can go ahead in here and you can enter in how much you receive if you get paid twice a month or if you get paid once a month or whatever. The nice thing about this app is that it is super easy to modify. You can modify it based on what your actual income and budget is. So if you get paid once a month, you can just hit the delete button. You can say yes, delete, and you can enter in how much you make once a month or twice a month. It's really up to you, and because it's your budget. One thing that I hadn't discussed in the previous parts of the video was saving and the importance of having an emergency fund or saving and investing for your future. So here it outlines that you can, there are sections for giving, whether you give to your church or charity, and sections for an emergency fund. It's super important to have an emergency fund set aside in case you run into any emergencies, like it's called. And this fund is strictly for emergencies. It's not for those pair of shoes that you want to go buy or that new game, whatever it is for you. These are strictly for emergencies. So if your car has a problem or you need to purchase a new appliance for your house that might have broken, that is what your emergency fund is for. Now, this is all by personal preference, and this is what works for me and what I choose to do for myself. But what I do is I follow the 10-10-80 rule, and that's where I tithe 10%, I save 10%, and I live off of the rest of the 80% of the money that I make. So I will tithe 10% to my church, and I will save 10% in my emergency fund, or I'll invest it in some way, whether it's in stocks or with my 401k or whatnot. That is just how I have chosen to manage my own finances and how I lay out my budget. So I just wanted to mention that because I know I hadn't before, but ultimately choose what's best for you. But we'll just go back to the actual app here. So like I said, we have our income section, your giving section, saving. Now we're getting into the fixed expenses area. So expenses that you're going to have every month, which is housing, or you have your utility bills. You can input those there and it'll tell you how much you have to spend each month. Then as we go down, we're getting into more of our variable and flexible expenses, such as, gas or groceries or entertainment, such as going out to restaurants, or we're going down here to personal areas where clothing or, getting your hair done or getting Netflix or whatever it might be for yourself. So there's all these topics that you can choose for your budget, whatever works for you. That's what's great about this app, and what I love so much about it is that it's completely modifiable and up to you what you want to have within your budget. So you can easily add an item and label it whatever it is that you are needing for your budget. But we're going to go on down here, and another important part is the debt section. So this is a great way to tackle any debts that you might have. Obviously, nobody loves being in debt, so it can be really hard to get out of it, but having a budget is probably going to be your best way about getting through it. So I just wanted to go over those super quickly, all the areas, but another great section that I love to see whenever you actually do fill out all of your budget is you can see how much of each area you are spending your money in. So if you are spending a lot in your housing or transportation, you can see how you might need to alter or modify your budget, and it really just shows a nice physical representation of what you're spending with your money. So I hope that was helpful for you guys, just to see an option of what you can use to actually keep track of a budget. And the best way to stick to one is to create a financial goal for yourself, or to create a goal that you need your finances in order to get to. That's going to be the best way of maintaining your budget. But also looking at how to review it before each month is another good way that will help you to have an incentive to continue to have a budget. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Like I said, I am by no means a financial planner or, advisor or anything, but this is just what has helped me a ton in my early adulting stages of trying to figure out how to manage my own finances. I've just found that by having a budget, I am more likely to stick to a plan and reach financial goals that I am hoping to get to. Also, if you're new here and don't follow me on Instagram, all this week that I am releasing this video, I'm going to be talking about different financial things that have helped me in my early stages of learning how to manage my finances. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing to my channel and keep up with my Instagram for updates on all that I'm going to talk about this week and release when it comes to talking about finances. So thanks so much again for watching, guys. I appreciate the support, and I hope this video was helpful for you and encourages you to make a budget and figure out what financial goals you have for yourself. Thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you later.